Hi everyone, today we are going to make some Seitan or Seitan. And what this is a meat substitute. Usually when you go to your grocery section, you're going to be able to find that small little package and you're going to pay about $6.99 to $8. And I'm going to show you how you can make it for about $2 for 2 days worth of Seitan. All right, so let me show you what we have. All right, so what I wanted to show you is that I'm using tamari right now, and this is a gluten-free soy sauce, but it doesn't make sense because this is completely gluten. So this is the only item that I have in the fridge, which is why I'm using it. But if you had liquid aminos, you could use that, and you could use coconut aminos. All right, so there's not just one way to make Seitan or Seitan. You can use different things. So if you did not want to use these spices, because the beauty of Seitan is that just like tofu, it's going to pick up the taste, the flavor of whatever spices you put in it. So right now I am using the spices that I think that would be good, but you can also, a lot of people use spike, and you're going to find that in your spice section. Usually it sits on the bottom row. I'm not sure why, but this will cost you about $2.99, and it has pretty much the same ingredients, but it does have some celery in there, salts, and a bunch of other seasons. I like to make my own, however. And then also, if I wanted to make some fajitas, fake fajita meat, I could use this taco seasoning, and it's like a Lowry's or whatnot. Which one is this? This is a McCormick, so you can just buy this and put that seasoning in. So we're going to make 2 different batches of Seitan. I also wanted to show you how easy it is. You don't need a lot of complicated utensils. 1 spoon, knife, your measuring cup, your measuring spoons, your mixing bowls, and your pot to cook it in. Okay? So we're going to go ahead and start to make the Seitan. All right, I want to show you what it looks like. Do you see that? It's super springy and gluey. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and cut these into little strips. These will be my fajitas. This was the Mexican spice, and then this one was the sage and marjoram. So we'll use this for barbecue, and then we'll use this for fajitas. So we're just going to go ahead and cut it. back in the bowl just to wait for a moment. We have to work quickly though. Okay. And then these here, this is our barbecue, so we're going to do longer strips. All right, so now that we have the Seitan mixed up and cut into pieces, and we've started our pot of boiling water with the soy sauce or tamari or your coconut aminos, you're gonna let that boil. And then once that's boiling, you're gonna go ahead and put your Seitan in there, and then you're gonna leave it in there covered for about, I'd say, half an hour. You're going to check it, you're going to flip over the Seitan, and then you're going to cook it for another half an hour. So anticipate that it's going to take you about 45 minutes to an hour to boil. The Seitan will puff up. And then what you can do is, what I'll do for this first batch that we made with the sage and the marjoram, we're going to make that into barbecue. And then the other ones are going to be our fajitas. Now, a lot of people love it. The barbecue is fantastic. I don't eat a lot of Seitan. I make it as a special treat for guests or for my son. I have a somewhat of a gluten intolerance, so I limit myself on that. So just make sure that you don't have any dietary restrictions or medical restrictions before you go ahead and make some Seitan, because it does have gluten in it, and it is a 75 to 80% protein. All right, so we're going to wait for the water to boil, and then we're going to move on, and I'll show you what happens to the Seitan. All right, so now that we have our Seitan in the water, what we're waiting for is for it to puff up. I like to call Seitan monster meat, because by the time you open up the pot, you're going to be totally shocked at how big it is. I think we should check right now. All right, so we're going to go and check our Seitan and see how it's doing. All right, so as you can see, it's boiling nicely, and it's starting to float towards the top. And you can see the little holes in there. So we're doing good. We're going to set the timer, and we're going to check it in about another 20 minutes. Look at that. Look at how much bigger it's gotten. So you're just going to mix this around. Look at that. Those little tiny pieces that we had, they're still going to get much, much bigger. Okay. So you can see how much it's puffed up. Amazing, right? So this could feed a family of 4 for 2 or 3 meals, really. And this probably cost about, I'd say, $2 to make at the most. All right, so as you can see, it puffed up really big. And so what we want to do is, I have a plate next to me, and I'm going to put some paper towels down. So this is done. I'm going to put it on here. I like to squeeze out the water. So you can either use the paper towel and do it this way, okay? You can see. Pick it up, it's warm, but it's, the texture is incredible. Very meat-like. All right, so you can either do it this way, or what I like to do is get a colander, and you can go ahead and scoop out the meat. Okay, scoop out some bigger pieces. As you can see. Hello. Do one more. All right, so what I do is I can also use a colander, and I just squeeze out the meat. I squeeze the meat, and I'm getting all of the water out, or as much as I can. And then I can transfer it to a dish, and then I can slice this. I can make barbecue out of it, put some barbecue sauce, and I'll show that recipe as well. But that's pretty easy, don't you think? I do. So we have our Seitan, we have all of this to go through, and then we have it right here. As I told you, it's very, very meaty. See that? All those nooks and crannies. So when you do a curry or a barbecue on that, it'll be nicely coated, and with the spices in there, yeah, it's perfect if you like this. But it's a fantastic meat alternative. All right, so one last thing before I go. You've now made your Seitan, and you probably have all of this au jus or liquid that's left over. So don't throw it away. Repurpose it, reuse it, make some soup that has protein in it, because the soy has protein in it, the molasses has protein in it, and then also the gluten that we boiled, that kind of bled off into the water, so that's adding to the protein level. So throw some vegetables in there, cabbage, potatoes, maybe some noodles, and then have another meal for another night. So there you have it. I wanted to do this video because I really wanted to show you how easy it is to make Seitan or Seitan, whichever way you want to call it. And it's super cheap to make, easy to make and super cheap. So all you have to do, there's your Vital Wheat Gluten. And that's the easiest way. This bag, whether you buy it at Safeway or Sprouts or Whole Foods, it's going to cost you about $6.99, and out of that bag it makes it, I think it has about 21 servings, something like that. So it's a fantastic option for you. Again, make sure to check your dietary restrictions. If you do gluten-free, you absolutely do not want to make this, since this is gluten, all right? But it's a high-protein alternative for you if that's what you're looking for. And in one of the other videos, I'll show you how I make my barbecue sauce, which goes nicely with it, and I'll show you how the Seitan looks, all in all. All right, so I hope you enjoyed it. Happy cooking, be healthy, be plant-based, and I'll see you in the next video.